Hello and welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, a student of astrology, master of numerology, a mother, a wife, and I'm here so you can see the best version of you, to help you see the best version of you in 2020. I'd like to remind you to share, like, and comment on today's show. And know that we are on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and YouTube. If in fact you've missed a couple of episodes, always go back and have a marathon and catch up on all the shows. As for today, I'd like to ask you, how are you all doing today with all this amazing energy? We're going to go into that in just a bit. I want to give a huge shout out to all my advertising sponsors, as there's a list, and there's also a flyer with all their information on there, should you be interested in contacting any of them. We're going to start off with Gail Nicholson. She's our resilience coach and metaphysical practitioner. Then we have Viana Sun, who is our subconscious mind specialist, and her partner, Gabriel Russo, who's our chiropractor. Our next is Irene Rodriguez. She's a healer, creator of waist beads, and the Torah wellness advocate. Moving into Sonia, which I'm not going to say her last name because I screw it up. She's our NPC national figure competitor, and hands up to her, U.S. Marine. Then we have Alex Fatillo, who is our leading shamanic priestess of wealth and well-being. Our newest, but not old, newest advertising sponsor is Nick Rafter. He's our real estate agent and our journalist. He keeps us up to date in regards to what's going on in the current world. So as I was asking, how are you feeling today with all this amazing energy? For those of you who've been watching me on a week-to-week and watching my lives for that matter, you know that today is a really special, powerful day where one of our planets has gone direct, and that's the planet of Pluto. Pluto is all about debts and transformations. Now, when we think about the word debts, it's literally debts, meaning things are dying off, things are coming to a period. It is really time to put a period at the end of the sentence, or turn the page and start a brand new chapter. This is a time where you're going to start feeling transformations occurring, transitioning into something brand new. As we're in this October energy, I like to always say October is really like the new year energy, where you'll start to feel refreshed and ready to go. At least that's what you're going to want to feel like. However, with all the energy that's going on in the cosmic world right now, again, we had this amazing full moon just a couple of days ago that was in Aries. The moon is now in Taurus energy. So there's a lot of energy going on in regards to your finances, your income, other people's monies, being connected with the material and the physical atmospheres as well. And then we think about Venus. Venus is currently in Virgo energy. And when we think of Venus itself, Venus is the planet of love, relationships, and money. But because it's in Virgo energy, the question that I ask you to really be mindful about is your relationships. In your relationships, rather than just speaking your mind, how about focusing on compassion and kindness? So if there's something you wish to share with your spouse, your partner, a family member, try to do it in a way where it comes out in a more kind, compassionate sense. And do remember, we still have Mars in retrograde at the moment, and Mars is our aggression, our angry, but yet let's take action because they're sitting in Aries. So there is a lot going on in our cosmic world where, yes, with the Libra energy that the sun is in, you want to feel more balance and harmony. But because there is so much energy going on with all the other planets, you may not actually be experiencing that right now. So be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself. With all that being said, I'd like to take a moment and let's shuffle the cards and see what the cards have in mind for you. See what chakra needs your attention to help you be in perfect alignment to whatever it is we're supposed to be doing on a collective energy and also on a personal level. With the cards, I also like to invite you to think about the affirmation that will show up. And also there's a number that provides a hidden message. So let's see what we got going on. Let's see. Let's tune in. What do we need to hear today, and what chakra needs your attention? Because I truly believe that when we do connect with our chakra system, it helps us to get realigned, because once we connect, we can dig into whatever chakra that might be a little sluggish or blocked and work on healing it so we could be in perfect alignment to the things we are looking to attract. So, beautiful card for today. It's about intuition. Intuition. We all have it. We all have intuition. We don't always use it though. I invite you to connect with your intuition and trust that when your gut feeling is telling you something, trust it. Don't second guess. If your gut feeling is saying, yeah, this is the right time to do something, trust it. If your gut feeling is saying, hold on, back up, trust it, because your intuition does not lie. It's very important to trust your gut intuition and also get in line with your root chakra, which is the color for today. Getting grounded. When we are grounded, we are more in tune and aligned with our intuition, because we are able to focus and be more productive regarding what it is we're looking to do. So the chakra to focus in on for today, to be in perfect alignment to do all that is going on in the collective, is your root chakra. Not sure where that is? Root chakra is connected right at the lower part of your tailbone. And it's actually connected to all your lower extremities, from your tailbone to your hips, down into your legs, to your knees, to your feet. And when you really think about it, it's the action that helps us to move forward. So when we are not grounded, we tend to get stuck where we cannot move forward. Now, our numbers, love these numbers, 2 and 4. 2 is all about our partnership that we have with our intuition, because you have a partnership with your intuition. And when you make that connection, you become really powerful. The 4 energy is about finding that balance between working with your intuition and being connected with the spirit world and also the physical world. And I like to say that when we connect with our crown, it opens up that connection to your intuition and that spirit world, where you have that balance. And we're all looking for balance in our lives. And interesting enough, the 4 is representing our collective energy for the year, and also that balance from the Libra energy. 2 and 4 works out to be 6. So the hidden message here, guys, as you trust your intuition and you get grounded, you begin to heal from within. As you heal from within and you take personal inventory of healing yourself, you begin to help heal the world. So if each and every one of us takes that personal inventory of healing oneself, the world becomes a healing world. I think that's a win-win for all of us. So with all that being said, should you be interested in receiving your own one-on-one reading, Cosmic Energy Soul Reading, feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com or text 646-236-9155. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, my guest is going to be here, and I'm excited to introduce you to her and share what she has to share with you. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for solutions and connections? If so, I can help. Hi, I'm Tammy Moses, and I help the peripheral people resolve hoarding issues in a holistic way. I would love to connect with you and learn more about how I can help in your unique situation. Please send me an email to thehoardingsolution@gmail.com. I look forward to connecting with you.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter. Though it may not seem like it, now is actually a good time to sell or buy a home, and I can help you with that. I'm a real estate agent with great knowledge of the markets in New York City and Long Island, and I can help price your home and get it sold, or find you one at a great price. I can also help you rent as well. So give me a call at 347-610-9765 or at nrafter@corcoran.com. Let's find you the perfect home.
Hello and welcome back. For those of you who are just joining, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and just going to give a recap before I introduce my guests. And remember to share, like, and comment on today's show. I always go back and read the comments and respond back to those who leave them. So just to recap on this energy of today, specifically our card for today, because I think it's really important. The affirmation is your intuition. So learning how to use your intuition In order to do that, it's very important to get grounded. And when we think about grounding ourselves, it's really about just connecting to the earth so you can connect with the earth and your intuition. It's that partnership, which is where that 2 energy comes in. The 4 energy is about finding that balance between connecting with your intuition. When you connect with your intuition and you get grounded, the healing process begins, which I'm really glad I'm ending the sentence off with healing, because it really does go really well with what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm ready to introduce my amazing guest, Tammy Moses. Did I say your last name correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So introduce yourself, because I know that I'm not going to get it all right because there's a lot about you. So go for it.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne. I'm happy to be here today. And well, I am a Navy veteran, and that does kind of come into the story a little later. I started a company called Homes Are for Living, and I recently added the doing business as the hoarding solution. And I started talking about this because it turns out I knew a lot about hoarding issues. And when you grow up in that, you are very isolated and you think you're the only one.
Yeah.
And so I never thought I'd talk about this publicly. But it turns out that your message is your mess is your message, basically. And even if it's not your mess, sometimes that still becomes your message. And so I'm here to talk about it and shine a light on it, because while we do try to address this, it's not really effective. And we aren't looking at the whole picture, which, just like you mentioned, the healing is a key piece of moving through any of the things that you're trying to deal with.
Yes, yes. And I think it's such an appropriate topic for today as we do move into the October energy, and as we're also coming to the last 3 months of the year, where getting people to recognize, their clutter, and also owning up to the fact that maybe we do have some hoarding issues going on and we may not be aware of it. So I want to dive into our questions for today in regards to what are the top 3 benefits of decluttering a space?
Well, one of those is it increases the clarity in your thinking. And if you have a cluttered space, for many of us, it's really hard to think in that space. And if you can start looking at why you don't like your space, sometimes it is because of the clutter. And if you put things away, this is one of my big things, I save time because I don't have to look for it. I put it in its place. In the beginning, that can be counterintuitive, because sometimes I'll laugh and say, oh, I couldn't find it because I put it away.
Yeah. How many times have we put something away and say, I'm going to put this in a safe place, and then forget what the safe place is?
Yes. And then you're like, well, I know I put grandma's handkerchief somewhere, but which safe space was that?
Exactly.
And the other thing is, if you are afraid to have people come into your space because you have too much stuff, you're isolated. And if you can figure out a way to reduce your stuff and be comfortable with inviting people in, you can increase your social connections. And I find many people, and I struggle with it myself, like, oh, are they going to judge me if I let them in? And that can happen even if you've cleaned everything. You can still have that level of anxiety if you're a person that is stressed out.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I remember years back when I first moved into my apartment and I had my first gathering. The first thing in my mind was like, oh, is my mom going to come with her little white glove and like put her finger across the coffee table to see if I've dusted? Because, she was, I'm not going to use the word a neat freak, but, she was just always, cleaning and whatever not. So that was like my biggest thing is like, oh, here I'm having this gathering. And my biggest concern is my mom going to come and put a little finger on the table. So yeah, a little bit of anxiety going on there.
Exactly. And that's the other side of that. If you were in a situation where you were always pushed to clean and always worried about that, that anxiety carries over into adulthood, the same as if you are worried about becoming that person, and it's so, I mean, I can worry about that one dust bunny that's going to blow out from under the couch. But never mind, I cleaned the bathroom, the kitchen, and everything else is fine. I'm worried about that one dust bunny, poofing out when the door opens.
Exactly, exactly. And when we think about the excessive stuff and the increase of isolation, like how does that actually increase isolation?
Well, it depends, I think, on your role in that situation. So if you are a person that hoards, sometimes you are completely put together. You go out, you do your job, you do everything. You're brilliant in what you do, but you don't want anyone coming into your space because you don't want them to see how you live the rest of the time. And so you're not inviting people in. You're not, and you might want to, but in the back of your head, there's this shame piece going on that I can't let people see how I live. And so you don't have the same social interactions as you would if you could invite someone in. If you are the spouse or you're the child of that person that hoards, you can't have your friends over. You're not going to have a dinner party. You miss some of those things like slumber parties and just some of those normal social connections that you could have if you felt more comfortable about the space that you live in. And then often as people age, they might have had a handle on their clutter, but then they maybe can't pick things up or move things. And now their adult kids don't want to bring the grandkids in because now it's a safety risk. And so they're missing those family connections too because of too much stuff.
Interesting, interesting. And now when we think about clutter, and I know it's not one of our questions, but I'm sure you can answer it. I'm sure you can. When we think about clutter, how is clutter connected to one's health?
I look at clutter as like it's the manifestation of other underlying things that are going on. And sometimes that just means you're really busy. And so you're just washing your laundry and you're throwing it on the bed, and then the next day you need clean clothes and you just pull something off the stack. But in other ways, you could be creating trip hazards or fall hazards if you have things that are piled haphazardly. If you can't reach electrical outlets, you might have extension cords running through the stuff, and that could create a fire hazard. It can also create, if it's very, well, they call it goat paths. If it's very skinny and you have to shimmy through, that creates a hazard for you and trip hazards, but it also creates a hazard, like say you needed emergency personnel to come in and get you. They need a 36-inch path to get a gurney in there. And so there's all these considerations that at first glance you wouldn't think you'd want to address.
Exactly, exactly. And one is probably never thinking to themselves, well, will I ever need to have the paramedics in my house and can they fit?
And you hope they don't need to come in, right? But depending on what your health issues are or at what your age is, that becomes a consideration if that ever needs to happen.
Exactly, exactly. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But before we do, let the viewers know how they can reach you.
So I can be reached by email, thehoardingsolution@gmail.com. And I'm also at The Hoarding Solution on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. So for our viewers, stay put because we're going to come back and we're going to have some more. I got some more great questions to ask Tammy about decluttering and hoarding. So we'll be right back.
When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.
Hello everyone, my name is Irene Rodriguez and I'm the creator and founder of 100 Essential Women. Through 100 Essential Women, I create individualized waist beads for women that represent the relationship between a woman and her body. They are individualized pieces that represent her femininity, her divine feminine, her sensuality, and her spiritual well-being. If you're interested, please reach out at 100 Essential Women on my Instagram. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, I'm Brianna.
I'm Gabriel.
And we're here to share with you about the Alignment Academy, which is a 12-week program to assist you to come into alignment in all areas of your life.
Coming into alignment, clearing the blocks, the interference that have been hiding from us. What is our gifts expressing as they really are?
So we're going to assist you in this 12 weeks to create an online business that's thriving and in alignment with your soul.
And you can reach us at alignmentacademy@protonmail.com.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Tammy Moses here, talking about clutter and hoarding. And for those of you who have Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and YouTube, we're on there as well. So if you didn't catch the beginning of the show, go back and watch it so you can. And remember, share, like, and comment. So let's dive right in. As I was asking Tammy during the commercial break, how does one know that they are hoarding or a hoarder? We're going to go the negative way about it.
Well, and that's the thing is the term hoarder is considered negative in a lot of ways. And a lot of people don't want to be referred to by that term, which who does, right? Who wants to be referred to with a negative term? But the idea that hoarding is a behavior is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can separate the person from the action, you're going to have a better chance at least having a conversation. But like the example is that you might have laundry on your bed, right? And you might have 3 loads sitting there and you haven't gotten to it. And so you just pull something off the top, right? And it's not impairing your life because when you go to bed, you might just shove it off in a basket, right?
Or throw it on the floor.
Or throw it on the floor if you don't have pet concern. Like my dog would sleep on it, right? If I threw it on my floor. But if you take all those, say you have 15 baskets and you just say, I'm going to shove them all in my shower, you might have a problem because basically now you can't use that particular piece of your house as the way it is intended. So you could take a bath or take a shower. And when it starts to build up like that is when you start to have a problem, and that can impair your life. Let's say you have 2 bathrooms, so maybe you don't think about it too much, but then all of a sudden the one bathroom might become unusable because now the laundry's in there and that spare car part, and now the bicycle with the flat tire, and that so it can start to build.
Yes.
And it can become a problem. And sometimes you can't cook because your counters are too cluttered. Sometimes you can't use your door to get in and out of your space because there's too many boxes and things. And so if you are starting to find that you can't access your space the way you normally would, say in maybe someone else's house, I would say you're starting to step into a problem that you might want to take a look at.
Interesting. Now, in regards to hoarding, how do I ask the question? Why is it hard or challenging for someone to detach from their things?
So a lot of the time it's because you have this emotional connection to those items. And it could be something like a coffee cup. Um, and that is maybe a tangible thing that you could use, right? But sometimes people will put that same value on a napkin that someone used, and maybe that's the last lunch you had with that person. And so you're equating value no matter what the worth is. And so if you run in there and try to get rid of everyone's things, then that's why they get upset, because they're attached to all those things, and you have a hard time helping them get rid of it. And I had a mug that I got with my mom on a trip like 20 years ago. We took to Canada, right?
Uh-huh.
A couple years ago, I chipped that mug, and I was mad, but actually I was sad, because I had a good time. I was really attached to that mug. And my first thought was, I should throw this away. My second thought was, I understand why I'm not. And so I decided I'm going to drink out of it one more time on the opposite side of the chip. I washed it, and then I turned it into a pencil cup. And that to me is just an example of why I didn't let that go. Had it been some other random whatever, I probably wouldn't care. But the problem is if you repurpose too much of those things, then you have too much stuff too. And so being aware of that, but that's why people have a hard time. And if you're trying to declutter, one of the things you can do is kind of talk yourself through why you don't need 100 purses. Why 50 might be acceptable.
You don't need 100 purses? Why not?
Well, some people, that might be their collection. Like I have a whole bunch of little elephants, but it's also not taking over my house. It might take over my mantle, but it's not my whole house.
Yes.
But people need to talk through their story. And that's the thing I have found, is if you can talk to someone and you can stop and hear their story, that's like their process for letting it go. It's also why it's very time consuming if you work with someone to declutter their space.
Yes, which leads me right into my next question. I'm glad you said that. When someone is in the process of wanting to declutter, the desire to declutter, and they're not really sure like how to go about it. Like, what's the process of decluttering? Because I mean, like for me, it's a matter of just getting garbage bags and just saying, okay, I'm gonna take the drawer and I'm just gonna dump it all in, or I'm gonna go through everything and see, what it is I've worn, what it is I haven't worn, stuff like that, and go through the process. So what is the actual process to someone who's hoarding in the process of decluttering?
So the first thing I would say is you have to recognize that there's an issue, and you have to key into the fact that maybe you need to take an action. Once you decide that, then I try to keep it very simple. I'm going to keep this, I'm going to donate, or I'm going to discard. And you might have subcategories, but initially it's less decision making. It's easier to make, say, 3 decisions instead of 10.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but a method that I use is I'll get 3 boxes and I will label each of them keep, donate, discard. And then you can go to your closet and you can say, I don't like this color. This doesn't fit. Even if it did, I wouldn't wear it. And you can just kind of start to go through that process on your own. A lot of times people are overwhelmed though, and it could be you maybe don't have a hoarding issue, but you might just want to sell your house, and you still are going to go through that same process of keep, donate, discard. In the other part, sometimes you might be holding on to other people's stuff for them, like your kids, for example, and now you're ready to downsize. So just take a box and put each kid's name on there and put their stuff in those boxes. And then next time you see them, you can just say, here's your box, Johnny. Here's your box, Suzanne. And now they're responsible for what they do with it. And they aren't going to come back and blame you for getting rid of something that was really important to them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And it sounds so easy. And it's really
Oh, it sounds
interesting.
easy.
Yeah, it sounds very easy, which is why I bring it up, because just this past week, which I think I messaged you to let you know, I was in the process of decluttering my kitchen cabinets. You know, the things in my kitchen cabinets that I have not probably used, and I can't even tell you how many years. And the thing that I'm tossing, I'm literally tossing in my head in reference to the spices. Somebody gave me a spice rack and has a variety of different spices in. Now, from the time they gave it to me, which was 9 years ago, to present date, I've never used it, but it's just sitting on my counter. And the thing is, well, okay, I have the spice rack. Like, do they expire? Should I hold on to them? And they're still sitting there. And this has been a conversation that I've had in my head because someone gave it to me. It wasn't a gift. They just handed it to me and said, I'm not using these anymore. I'm moving. Would you like them? And rather than just saying, no, thank you, I said, sure, why not? And they sit on my kitchen counter and still tossing the idea of these damn spices.
Well, and that's kind of the thing I think sometimes is we might be, like you said, it wasn't a gift, but maybe there's still some kind of, if they came and said, hey, where's your spices? And you'd be like, after 9 years, I threw them out, and so, but it's that kind of that process, and then figuring out, would I rather have something else on my counter in its place? Like if I moved that or got rid of it, would it give me more freedom for something else that I
Or would it just be the point where I now have this nice empty space where it's empty and allows the energy just to flow a little better?
yes, and not have it be in the way,
Yes,
and just enjoy that free space that you've now created.
exactly. So now here goes the big question. How can you talk to a loved one about their hoarding issues?
It can be challenging to approach it. If you've never talked about it, you might want to find a way to just have a conversation with them about something is important to them. Their pets, their kids, a trip they took somewhere, whatever their thing is, and just try to talk to them as a person and kind of forget about that clutter for a while, and with the intent of having that conversation. And then you can move into something like a safety conversation. Like, I'm concerned that you're going to trip if these boxes fall in front of the bedroom door. Or I'm worried that because you have all this paper here in the office and it's all boxed up, but you have all the cords running through it, that this is a fire hazard. Generally, you will hear, I don't have a problem. This isn't something you should worry about. You're going to encounter that resistance. And so it's important to focus on the person and then start looking at what can we do to resolve it. And I was thinking about this as well. And sometimes you need to know what the actual problem is. Are they facing an eviction? Is there an inspection coming up? Is their fridge not working? Is that why they need someone to come in to look at the fridge? And try to establish if there's an actual problem that they are not telling you about. And if you can figure that piece out, then you can start talking about what the solutions are. But also, as a family member, you might have already tried everything and you might have already gotten into a yelling match or things like that. And so you may want to step back a little bit and potentially call in someone else that can help declutter or clean, or at least devise a plan. It takes some of that emotional charge out, and you might be able to retain a relationship while still attempting to resolve the problem. Because a lot of times, once you start to try to help them, you might be disowned. I mean, it happens. Because their attachment is so strong, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So there is that issue, and being aware that not the family isn't always the best solution. And that's something that's really hard for people like landlords and some of those people to hear, because they want someone to fix it. Yet I'm not a qualified mental health professional, right? I'm not a hazmat team. So how is it I can intervene well? It's a consideration even for family members who want to come in and rescue their person. There's a lot of safety and health risks sometimes to you that you have to take into account.
Interesting. I love that. I love that. Again, we have to take a commercial break, so let the viewers know how they can reach you.
I am thehoardingsolution@gmail.com, and I'm at The Hoarding Solution on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. So, our viewers, please stick around and grab a pen and paper, because we're going to see about giving some more tips on how to slowly go through the process of decluttering or being able to have a conversation with that family member that may have a hoarding issue. So, we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Sonia Blade. I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps here at Camp Pendleton, California. I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology from San Diego State University. I joined the Marine Corps in 2010. And since then, I've actually learned a lot more about leadership than I ever thought I would learn. I've been able to train and mentor thousands of Marines. I started doing figure competitions back in 2013, and that really began my passion for helping others reach their fitness goals. I received my personal training certificate in order to help people reach their fitness goals. I also like to incorporate lifestyle training and life coaching, because having the right mindset is what's really going to get you that lifestyle change. So if you guys want to reach me, you can reach me on my Instagram, Facebook, or send me an email. There's more to come, so stay tuned.
God, like, what's next for me? I'm just fulfilling my destiny.
Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome. My name is Alex Vitilla, founder of Breathing Heart Consultancy. I work with art-centered coaches and consultants, soul-driven entrepreneur, to heal past trauma and help you smash through the six-figure income ceiling in your business to create epic income and epic results and an epic impact onto Mother Earth. I've got an amazing offer. Activate your wealth consciousness. Drop me a message.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I have my amazing guest, Tammy Moses here, who is speaking about decluttering and hoarding issues. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, please grab your pen and paper. And remember, we are on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and YouTube. You will definitely have to go back and check it out so you can catch the whole show from the beginning. But stick around for now, because we're in the juice of this. And Tammy, if you can again just share some additional tips in reference to how one can go through the process of starting off decluttering, like what can they do? I know you've mentioned about the 3 boxes, but what else can they do in that process? And if they can start off slow or big or whatever it might be.
Well, I recommend picking something small. And so there's a couple things that you could do. For example, let's say your hall closet's really bugging you and you went to find your soap and there wasn't any left, or you thought you had some, but now you can't find it. So that's what prompts you to clean that closet. So I would start like with the first shelf that bugs you and say, okay, I am going to bring a trash can over here and a recycle over here, or maybe you're giving it away. And I'm going to split it up into like, this has been here for 10 years. And this I bought 3 months ago, but I have too many. And you can start splitting it up small. The other piece is, let's say you're working on a room and every time you open that room, that door, you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And you shut the door and walk away. I've done that.
Me too.
That's a very normal thing, I think, to be, oh, that's just too much. So you could say, okay, I'm going to take this one basket and I'm going to go take it in my living room. And tonight when I watch that movie, I am going to sort through this basket of stuff and do the same thing. Keep, donate, discard, or recycle. And it helps you because now you're not in that space where you're overwhelmed. And it also helps you feel like I did something. I accomplished something toward my goal of getting rid of stuff in that room. But it's less distracting, and you're not sitting in a space where you're overwhelmed, because maybe you love your living room and maybe your goal is to get that other room looking similar. And so at least you are in a space that you actually enjoy, working on something you may not enjoy as much. The other piece of that is, if someone else's stuff is bugging you, they're probably not going to let you do anything. But that's where doors are helpful, because if it's their room or their office and they don't want to deal with it, as long as it's like being contained, you can just have, could you please shut the door, because it's stressing me out to see this,
Yes.
And as long as you're not having a health hazard by doing that, I think doors are great. And it is a way to mitigate your stress if clutter is stressful for you.
Interesting. One of the things I like to do in regards to decluttering as a major tip is, on the process of decluttering something, I take a picture of what the space looks like first. And then when the space is completely finished, and it doesn't mean it's going to take a day or two, it could take time. I take pictures over the point until the place is exactly how I want it to look. So I have the before, and then I have the after. And then it excites me to realize, like, wow, this looks really nice that it's all decluttered free, where I can actually breathe in the space and move around in the space. And then I laugh at myself, because how long it might take to declutter. It's really amazing on how you can build it all back up again.
And that's really true. And actually I was working on my guest room yesterday with that same thing. Like, all the components are in there, but like, I need to make the bed and I need to hang up the curtain, and just making progress. And I like the idea of the photos, because you can show it along the way. And if you happen to have someone in your life asking you if you are making progress, you have evidence that yes, indeed, you are making progress. So there's like a dual benefit to doing that.
Now, early on, when we first started the show today, you had mentioned something about your history behind being a post veteran, and that you have a little story to share with that. Do you want to share that story?
So sure, I will share that story, because it is kind of my why. And when you go into business, sometimes you have an idea. And my idea initially was, I'm going to talk about housing issues. And we have a lack of affordable housing where I live, like a lot of areas. But as I started to go through that business process, I had someone say, okay, most entrepreneurs have plan B. What's plan B? Or what else do you know about? I said, well, I know about hoarding. They're like, do you know their shows? I'm like, oh, I know their shows. I can't watch them because I can smell it. And I know what what that is, because of my own history with parents that having that issue. And part of the reason I moved out my senior year of high school and joined the military was to separate myself from that situation. And there's a lot of veterans, actually, I've found, that have come from similar backgrounds, and that was their escape route. And I felt guilty, because at the time I left my younger brother there, and he was in a wheelchair and very limited space that he could access. But on the other hand, I felt like I had to save my own life. And I feel like he understood that. Like, maybe both of us can't get out of here alive, but one of us can. And he's been deceased now for a number of years, but when I have a picture of us when we were little, and part of the reason I talk about it so adamantly now is there are kids living in this right now. There are families and people. There's 19 million people in the US alone that struggle with this. And that's actually an underestimate, since people often don't disclose. So I came up with YLITH, Youth Living in the Horde, hashtag YLITH, and also hashtag AKOPTH, Adult Kids of Parents That Hoard, because there's a lot of societal expectation placed on you to help your elderly parent. that changes a bit if that person has a hoarding issue. It changes your options, if you will. And I did a lot of things. I went in the military. I had a government job. I did a lot of this other stuff. I went back to college, and then I kind of stumbled into business ownership due to being a veteran. And that kind of has evolved. And something, when you were advertising this, you were talking about Rob Garcia. And Dr. Garcia is a large reason why I'm sitting here today, because he kept seeing the value of what I was trying to do and why I was talking about it. And when I started my podcast, he was my first guest because he had experience with a grandparent that had this issue. And so I would say if you are on a business journey or a mission journey, looking at what your pain points were personally is something that you survived it, right? You're here. So now you can use that to help other people. And even now, when I think about like the youth right now, like they're remote school, right? Yes. Well, what if you're in a house where you don't want to be on the camera? And what if that teacher requires you to? Like now they're like getting, like school used to be an escape, right?
Yes.
And now it's not. So they're stuck in it.
Yes. Yes, yeah, and it's probably a really big challenge if, let's say, there is hoarding issues in the household and a child has to be on camera, and now people can see. I mean, from just from my camera alone, you can see my whole space behind me. Thank God it's clean.
Well, I took some stuff down because I'm like, I don't like how it's been looking on recent calls, and I'm like, well, I can't have that. So. And even if you have like the green screen or whatever, if you step in and out of the picture, people can see it. And anybody who went to school knows how hard school is if you don't fit. And if you are in a space where you are having to display it, it can be useful to take a blanket or something to cover it up. I mean, let's be real. Do we all want everyone in our space?
No,
eyeballs
not
in
really.
there? No.
Exactly.
I'm very strategic about where I am on camera.
Exactly. So thank you for sharing that story. I think that story was very informative and very helpful, and I'm sure there's many viewers who are probably sitting back saying, wow, I have a similar story.
Yes, and you don't realize like, oh, I'm not by myself. No, you're not actually.
Exactly. And what I like to do with all my guests is give a cosmic energy soul reading. Are you open?
I am open.
Okay. Would you like to ask a question where the cards can give some guidance, or would you like the cards to just give you guidance from the universe?
I think I will take guidance from the universe.
All right. If you wouldn't mind repeating your full name that's on your birth certificate 3 times out loud.
Tammy Lynn Moses. Tammy Lynn Moses. Tammy Lynn Moses.
All right. I don't know why, but I thought I had a feeling you had a Lynn in your name somewhere. You look like a Lynn. I don't know what a Lynn looks like, but you look like a Lynn. So let's see what you need to hear from the universe today. Whoops, as the cards are flying. Interesting. Clarity. Clarity is the card. And I think it's appropriate because when we do declutter, I know for myself, I find that when I eliminate junk in my space, it really does help me have a better connection with things I need to hear. So I'm guessing the word clarity for you is that you're providing a lot of clarity for people today in regards to whatever little bit of clutter they may have, or if they are dealing with a hoarding issue, there's a lot of clarity that's coming through with this. And the chakra associated is the heart, but it's the high heart. And I do feel that you gain a lot of compassion from the work that you do. Like you connect into people's energies and you bring out the compassion in them. Because sometimes when we have a hoarding issue, people sort of get lost in that and they lose their sense of their emotions. So I get a sense that you just bring out a lot of compassion in people. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. And your number today is 2 and 9. So the two is about the partnerships that you obviously have when you're working with your clients, and the new clients that's going to be coming on from being here and just sharing a story. And that nine energy really falls into, as you move into decluttering and helping people deal with their hoarding issues, you're helping them transform not just their space, but you're helping them transform physically, mentally, and spiritually on an overall level, which again really goes into the whole process of how decluttering can lead to healing because you're helping them transform on a much deeper level. It's not just getting rid of their junk, it's getting rid of the issues within themselves because, as we said, whatever we're holding on to can very well be connected to something from a trauma or some reasons to why we have to hold on to things, our safety net, so to speak. So you're helping people transform. Your 2 and 9 is an 11. And that 11 energy, as I like to say, is anytime we see the 11, it's really letting us know that you are walking your purpose. You are walking your purpose. So congratulations on that. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, it does. And thank you, because it's so important once you figure that out, once you clarify your purpose and what your mission is. And it's taken a lot of refining to get to here. But I think focusing on the human is very valuable. And my three, I guess you would say, words are connect, transform, emerge. And that is basically what happens. You see people realize that there's hope and they can do it a different way. And I love seeing that realization happen. And don't beat yourself up. It's going to take time. But if you decide that that is the path you're taking, you can start to do it. And just know it took some time to build up. It's going to take some time to knock it down again.
Exactly. And the clarity you are providing many people by doing the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I need you to give the viewers your contact information one more time so they can reach out to you because we are in our final break. So let them know how they can reach you.
So I am the hoarding solution at gmail.com. And I'm also at the hoarding solution on Facebook and Instagram. And if you happen to want to email me, I have a detachment guide that I can send your way, and happy to do a free 30-minute consult. And we can talk about what's happening and maybe give you some tips, to keep your own sanity in place.
Awesome. And also want to mention to our viewers, for those who are interested, I'm going to have Tammy on my radio show the second Wednesday of this month, and we're going to be talking some more about this. So if you did miss and come in a little later today, feel free to join me on my radio show, Joanne's Cosmic Energy, the second Wednesday, the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, where you'll get to learn more about what we talked about today. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to give you the conclusion of today's show. We'll be right back. Hi, are you ready for a crystal healing experience? Did you know that your crystals can help you heal physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally? I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified personal trainer, intuitive healer, and cosmic energy reader. I'd like to invite you to come join me for my 7-day crystal healing class, which starts October 1st through October 9th. We're skipping October 3rd and 4th. Each class will be recorded, and you don't even need crystals. Mention this video and receive the special price of $100 for this amazing class, a value of $199. Email healingwithin76@gmail.com.
Are you ready for solutions and connections? If so, I can help. Hi, I'm Tammy Moses, and I help the peripheral people resolve hoarding issues in a holistic way. I would love to connect with you and learn more about how I can help in your unique situation. Please send me an email to thehoardingsolution@gmail.com. I look forward to connecting with you.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, you're going to have to go back and watch the show on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or even YouTube, as we are at the end of our show today. I'd like to remind you to share, like, and comment though. And again, you already know it's Sunday. And what happens on Sunday? You can join me on my Facebook page live this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Sunday free Cosmic Energy Soul readings, where I can give you a reading similar to what I gave Tammy. And for those of you interested in getting your own personal readings, feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com, or you can send me a quick text at 646-236-9155. And also want to invite you to come join me every Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I think there's a flyer for that. Via Zoom, so you will have to secure your spot and redeem the Zoom link. And to do that, again, just go to my email, healingwithin76@gmail.com. And that takes place at 11 p.m. Eastern Time for 11-minute meditation and 1 card pull. So I look forward to seeing all of you next week. Enjoy this amazing week that we have coming in. Until next time, bye-bye for now.